Hey besties, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Shay back with another video. As you can see by the title, today we're gonna go through the 15 books I read this month. I think it was 15. That's what we're gonna go through. All of these. So where did I, okay. So I kind of like organized it by my wrap up, so I got like the genres and stuff, page count, to see what books and what. I'm gonna show you guys the books in order from the lowest rating to the highest rating. So let's just get straight into it. So before I show you guys the books of the rating, let's go through the page count. I read 5,647 pages in the month of July. And the genres were romance, thriller, / mystery, and romantasy. Lowest rated book, which was my first DNF of the month, is Hidden in Plain Sight. And the only reason why I rated it is because I got about 40–50% in. So I dang near finished the book. I couldn't do it no more. It was like okay, but I just couldn't get into the story the way I thought I would. So Hidden in Plain Sight, I rated 2 stars since I made it 50% through. I wasn't gonna rate it at all, but I was like, I do have like an opinion, so I was like 2 stars. It was fine. I might try again one day to read it, and when I read it I listened to the audiobook, so maybe the next time if I try again I will read it, just read it and leave it alone. So the next book that I read, which I rated 3 stars, is Never Vacation with Your Ex. You might have seen this in the reading only summer romance books for a week. This was the first one I actually read in that video. I actually really like this book. I think I said in the video, I did not like how slow it was to get to the vacation. The whole point was the vacation, and it took a minute to get there, but when they got there I loved it. And once they went on vacation, everything from over there from that point on, I loved it, which is why it's about a 3.5. Just on Goodreads is a 3. So but I think in my brain it's like a 3.5, 3.75. I like this book a lot. Next is Every Summer After, which is rated 3 stars. I listened to it on audio. The chapters are way too long and I did not like it, so I couldn't read it physically. If I would have read it physically, it probably would not have got read. But I'm happy I listened to the audio because I actually liked the story. It wasn't that big of a deal to me. Like the conflict of the whole story was kind of stupid, and I really wish that it wasn't that, but it was pretty decent. Like the back and forth, just seeing like from years ago and then the present day and how the relationship was and what happened, it was all right. It was cool. It was fine. I like the book. Next we read The Other Misses. This was like, I think it's like a mystery thriller. I don't know exactly. But what I do know is that I guessed it. It took me a second to guess what the plot was, but then I did. And at first I was off, but then it started to register in my brain what was going on, and I was like, I think I know what's going on. And then when it revealed it, I was like, oh yeah, I knew it. I really like this book, and it's supposed to be coming to Netflix, so I'm waiting for it to come to Netflix to watch the movie. I'm happy I was able to read it before the movie came so that I can watch the movie. So yeah, this was a really good book. I suggest you pick it up if you are looking for like a mystery thriller type of book. It was crazy. It was so crazy. Next we have 2 out of 3 books. So 2 out of a trilogy. I read The Summer I Turned Pretty and It's Not Summer Without You. These 2 books I watched the show, like, that's based off of it, the like first season or whatever. I watched all of it, so I kind of knew what was going on in the first book, and I listened to the audio of the second book. So I didn't finish the first book fully just because I knew what happened. I knew everything that happened because I watched the show first. But I did want to get into the second book to see what happened after the fact. So the second book was pretty good. I was gonna read the third book, but I just wasn't in the mood for it anymore. So I'll probably try to read the third book before the summer is over, just so I can say I finished the trilogy. But I gave both of these books a 3 stars, so I'm pretty sure the series is like a 3-star series. Next, I don't even know why I gave this book a 3 stars. Now that I'm thinking about it, that book is probably like a 4, maybe even a 5. Like, did I really give it a 3? I really gave it a 3. I don't know why, but it's none of this is true. When I finished this book, I was staring at the wall. I was like, I still don't know. I still don't know what's the truth. Like, this book, it just pulls you in and it confuses your brain, and then you just sit there like, so what really happened? Like, I really want to know what's the truth. What is the truth? Because I don't know. Because the way it ended, do you know? Because I don't know. If you know, please tell me, because I don't know. I want to know, but I don't. I freaking loved this book. Like, at first I was like, it's alright. It took me a second to get into it. It's something, like, I was kind of in a reading slump, I feel like, and I wanted to attempt to finish like 5 or 6 books, and I only finished 2 out of the 5, which is good, but I just wasn't feeling reading. But I'm happy I decided, well, I'm happy that I was able to get the audiobook, because if I didn't get the audiobook, this book would not be done. This is actually a library book too, so, but if I couldn't get my hands on the audiobook, and I'm so happy that I did, because the audiobook, it just made the book 2 times better, in my opinion. Like, the book was great. Like, let me see, hold on, let me read this real quick and make sure I'm not gonna spoil nothing. It says right here. So the main character, Alex, she's a podcaster, and when they would show the podcast episodes in the book, it sounded so good. Like, the way they did it, it was great. Oh my goodness, it was so good. This book was so good. Like, honestly, I'm gonna say it's like a 4.5. I don't know why I gave it a 3. I don't know. I think just at the time I was kind of confuzzled. I was confused. I didn't know what was going on. But now that I'm thinking back on it and I'm thinking about it, it's like a 4.5 in my eyes. I like this book. I'm gonna read more. I have another one, Then She Was Gone. I'm gonna have to, Lisa Jewell, I'm gonna have to pick up some more. And I've been in a mystery, thriller, mystery type of mood lately, because, you know, the fall is creeping up on us, and I think I'm gonna have to pick up her next one. I'm happy this was the first one of hers that I picked up, because it set a good standard for her. So yeah, this was the next read. And then we got into Not in Love. I just finished this like yesterday. I didn't actually finish it. Let you in on a little secret. I didn't actually finish it in July. I was like 100 pages off, but I wanted to add it to this anyway, so I just finished it yesterday morning. It's the 2nd of August now. So this was the book of the month for a book club that I'm in, and I didn't get it until halfway through July, because I got it off Pango Books. So yeah, but I finished this yesterday. There's some like downsides to this book. It was really spicy, and I felt like it could have been so much better if the plot was more plot and less spice. But I did like this book. I just wish that it was like over a longer amount of time and not just like over like 2 weeks of time, because the amount of things that happened in this book, smut wise, over a span of like 2 weeks is crazy. But I did like this book. It was a really good book. Would I suggest you read it? Not if you don't like spice, but it was pretty good. That's all I can say. And then let's get into our 4-star reads. The first one, My Heart, Wild Love. I love Ford. I loved Rosie. That's her name, right? Yep. Rosie and Ford. Oh my gosh, I love them together. The banter, the bickering, the way that they picked with each other because they knew each other for so long. It was just like, it was so cute. And then like to see, it was kind of like they both thought it was like friendly, but in both their brains it's kind of like, no. I love this book so much. This is the first Elsie Silver book I've ever read, and I'm so happy this was the first one I picked up because it was great. For it to be as thick as it was, I read it within like 2.5 days. I just flew. I got it on my Kindle just because it's a thickie, so I got it on my Kindle, and it was the best decision I ever made. I was tapping away. This book was so good. It was so good. It had me like cackling. It had me blushing. It had me kicking my feet. It had me wanting more. It was so good. I suggest you read it if you haven't. Next, we have The Fine Print. If I'm being so honest, I read this early in the month, so I don't really remember a lot. But I do know I did like this book. I just don't like how instant chemistry, like the instant lovely, whatever you call it, like I don't like how instant it was. The attraction, I get like the attraction could be instant, but the attraction was too much too soon, but I still ate it up. The next book was Beach Read, and let me tell you a little something about Beach Read. I almost did not read this book because when I had read Never Vacation with Your Ex, The Summer I Turned Pretty, and all those books for the summer reading only summer books for 7 days, I was reading way too many books that had like just illnesses and stuff, and I couldn't take it anymore. So I almost didn't pick this book up, but I knew I wanted so badly to read another Emily Henry book because when I read Funny Story, I loved the book, and it didn't have like a lot of Funny Story was different. Funny Story was like a 5-star to me. I think I actually did rate it 5-star. I love Funny Story. Beach Read, I gave it 4 stars. A lot of people like this one more than like all of her other books. I just felt like it was too grief heavy for me at the time that I read it. I might reread it one day, but right now it's a 4-star read. I really do like this book, and I like the relationship. There was some things that I just wish wasn't in it, maybe because I wasn't feeling that at the time. So yeah, this was a 4-star read. If you have not read it, I suggest you read it. Emily Henry is like great. I love her books. Also Abby Jimenez, I love her books too, which we'll get into that in just a second. Abby Jimenez is probably my favorite author, and Emily Henry is runner-up because their books is so good. Like they use the way that they write is just so poetic to me. It's like so beautiful. I love her. Then let's get into my 5 stars of the month. Let's start with my I don't want to call it my favorite because all of these are 5 stars, so to me all of these are my favorite reads, but The Storied Life of A.J. Fikry. This book was beautiful. I think it's, let me figure out what the genre is. Literary fiction. This is the first literary fiction book I've ever read. I normally do like romance, fantasy, romantasy. Actually, this is really the first time I got into thriller, mystery thriller books too. So, But this was the first book I picked up this month. Last month. I believe it was the first one. And it was a 5-star. I love this book so much. I love the story. I love the book aspect in it, but I also like seeing his life and like what he went through and how he overcame it, and how like the things that was put in his life to help him move past it. This book ate me up. I ate it up, and it ate me up. I didn't cry. It wasn't like sad to me. A lot of people, they probably get emotional when they're reading a story, but I'm not really an emotional person. So if a book makes me cry, it has to get a 5-star rating, because I don't cry a lot. But this book was so good. Just everything about it was so good. It was so good. And the plot twist at the end was crazy. I never seen it coming. Like, I honestly didn't expect it, and the fact that it was there was so crazy to me. If you have not read this story, you need to read it. I suggest you read it. Please read it. It's so good. Okay. Now let's move on to Miss Abby Jimenez. Just for the summer. I tabbed a little bit. Okay. So I was trying to read this book within 24 hours because it was part of the reading 7 books for 7 days, 7 romance books for 7 days. And I did manage to read this Chunky Monkey within that time. But I couldn't really tab as much as I wanted to. So I hit a point where I was like, oh, I want to underline, I want to tab, I want to underline, I want to tab. And I had already read a good amount of the book. And then I got done tabbing and I was like, yeah, I don't feel like doing it no more. So some of it is tabbed, some of it isn't. But let's talk about it. I just know I really did like this book like a lot. And yeah, I just feel like y'all should read it. And the final book that I read in the month of July is Reckless. You can see my powerful and my powerless back here. Reckless. This book, it was not as good as the first one. Okay? Let me tell you. But it was darn good. Okay? It was like really, it was stretched out. But like I understand why it was stretched out. But then again, it could have been shorter. And some of it could have been taken out. But the amount of questions I had at the end of this book, and the way at the end of the book, I was literally like, no, 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 no way. No, you did not just do that. No. 5 stars. This book was great. Yeah, I cannot wait for the 3rd book to come out. And this was the last book that I read this month. So overall, I had a pretty good reading month. Like I said, I think I read 15 books. I think that's what it was. 1, 2, 3, 4. It was 14 books. My fault. It was not 15. It was 14. So I read 14 books this month, and they were all pretty highly rated, 3 and above. So I had a pretty good reading month. And this is actually the most that I've read all year. Every month I normally hit like maybe 6, 7 books. This month I was able to slow down on books. And that's really thanks to audiobooks, because I could put my audiobook in at 2.5 speed and be done with that book in a day. But if I have to pick that bad boy up and hold it, you won't see me done with it for 2 to 3 days. But that's okay, because I still read them. They're still done. And thank you guys so much for watching. Alright guys, so that is the end of this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you found some new book recommendations that you would like to read, or I hope you came to a conclusion on whether you're gonna read one of these books or not. So yeah. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Comment down below a stack of book emojis if you made it this far, so that I can know who actually stood through the video. And yeah, so that's it for this video. Love you guys.